Welcome back to the Knotenkopp podcast. My name is Johanna and I talk all about my knitting on here. I live in the north of Germany, close to the coast, and that means I am able to wear a lot of knitwear, even though we are getting close to summer. So I'm not only wearing my knitwear, I'm obviously also making it. And this episode, we have a lot of finished objects, like a lot. I didn't podcast in April and we are now at the end of May, but you probably will see this video in the beginning of June. So basically, it's all my makes from April and May and what I'm currently knitting on. Since I have so many finished objects, I might need to cut this podcast episode into parts. So one where I only talk about finished objects and one where I talk about my current whips and also my recent acquisitions. I went to a yarn festival in the beginning of April where I would like to talk a little bit about, and also, yes, what I acquired. I went to Berlin and bought some yarn. I didn't buy some yarn, but I bought needles and some other like knitting related stuff. So, and I'm pretty sure, and I guess you know that if you've been watching my podcast episodes, I talk lengthily and very much about my knitting, so I'm pretty sure I won't be able to do this like in about an hour all. So if you're interested in seeing what I'm currently knitting, you have to go to part 2. I probably will upload them like around the same time and just film them straight after each other. What else? If you are here for the first time, you can also find me on Ravelry and Instagram through the name knotenkopp. I post much more recent on Instagram. I also participating this year in Me Made May. It's a lot of fun, especially since I'm going to work again and I kind of have to dress up like more than like your loungewear and a sweater kind of way. So it's nice to style my knits, even though we had some days already where I wasn't able to wear any knits anymore. But today is a very rainy and gray day, but it's kind of warm. But so that's why I'm also wearing a vest and a slipover and not a sweater. So you can find me over there if you are on these platforms, and I also always put all the information about the project, like sizing, cost of the yarn or for the finished object, the yarn, the measurements most often, because I often knit off gauge on the screen. And if you need like more information about the modifications and stuff, I also have my Ravelry project linked in the description box if you need further information. But let's get into the finished objects. I have kind of my notes here. I put them very sparse, like more a list of all the finished objects, because I couldn't even remember what I finished in basically April. But let's get into it. So I'm trying to go in the order I finished things, and the oldest finished objects are my Timmer mittens. You've seen, I think one was already finished the last time I filmed, and this time both of them are finished. I also got the chance to wear them while, I think in April, because we still had some cool days. And they're in the same alpaca sock yarn from Lang Yarns that I knit my Alex hood from Knitting for Olive, and they are like a broken rib pattern. So they are like not identical matching because that's just a rib pattern, the Alex hood, but they're kind of like in a similar style. And I freestyled a lot on them, like the decreases and the width. I used a different needle size, and the pattern is actually in Swedish, but I mean, I think when I got it, or when I downloaded it, I translated it with like a Google Translator, but I think you can now upload like whole patterns into into ChatGPT, and it perfectly layouts and translates you the pattern. Because I think the annoying thing is when you put like in sections of a pattern, it's really annoying to put them back together in a layouted form. But yeah, that's at least one good thing about ChatGPT. But I basically wrote nearly all of the instructions also in my Ravelry post. I mean, it's end of May now. I think no one is going to start mittens now or needs them. I'm going to store them away after this as well. But it's really cute, and obviously it's a very autumnal color. The color is called Cinnamon Melange, and it's that very beautiful heathered brown, like really warm tone brown with reddish and orange flecks. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to autumn and winter when I have like a matching set. So yeah, I think that's all to that. The next thing I finished was my watch cap head. I think I've mentioned it in my last podcast, but I didn't have it with me because at that time it was my office project. I keep in my drawer at my workplace always a knitting projects. In my former job, I had a lot of meetings, so I had a lot more knitting time during that. I don't have that anymore. I'm doing a lot more like, to explain it the best, like architectural drawing, which is something you can always continuously do as well, like when you are in a meeting. But like rarely I have like these webinars kind of things where yeah, you just have to listen and sometimes have to take notes. You can't really do anything else, except obviously knitting something easy. And I had this one. I also have my next office knitting project with me, which we will talk about later because it's a whip. So this is knit in Norma in the color Sake or 01. I got this yarn now 2 years ago when I've knitted a sweater for a friend as a birthday gift, and I had one skein left over, and then after that I knitted a November balaclava, I think, from PetiteKnit, but I rarely wore that because it just wasn't really functional for me. But obviously this yarn is really, really beautiful, so I was like, I want something wearable for me in this. And I mean, I've knitted a lot of hats. Most of them I freestyle by now, and so I have a lot of hats already. But I think I remember I saw in the bus a woman with that spirally crown, and I was like, wait a second, I think I know that pattern, and it really looked cool. She had like a mustardy yellow color, or yeah, and I was like, oh, maybe I should give it a try. And I knew it was a pattern by PurlSoho, but I wasn't sure which one anymore. And I changed a few things to make it work. I think my yarn is actually the same as the one that is like thickness wise, the same as recommended. But I think I went down or something with needle size. I've knitted this on 3.5 millimeter, and it was already quite uncomfortable. And therefore I went down, no, I think I went up in needle size, but went down in stitch count. And my stitch count ended up being not fitting with the decreases. So one of these swirly decrease sections is actually smaller than the other 4, but I think no one is going to notice. And yeah, and I knitted it basically to the length that was recommended, but I really wanted to use all of that yarn, and I didn't really like the brim fold that they had in the picture. I think it was a singular brim fold, and I really like it like double folded, or with the base layer basically triple folded. So what I did, so I haven't sewn in any ends, so I think I put in the measurements of what I knit from the cast on line until the decreases, and then I picked up again and knit in the other direction and cast off just in just normal cast off, bind off like in pattern. And actually this makes it the perfect length for me. And so in this way, because I had like I think only 19 grams left or something, because I lost some yarn through the balaclava. And since I've played around with the stitch count, I wasn't really sure. I think next time, if I am playing yarn chicken or just have that one skein, I would maybe make a provisional cast on or something, so that I wouldn't need to pick up, because obviously that always ends up in a kind of so if you pick up the stitches in the other direction, you will never be able to align the ribbing pattern perfectly, and I think with a provisional cast on it would be easier. Yes, I'm really happy. I probably will have inserted pictures of me wearing it. I wore it quite a lot. I really like the colorful character of that hat, and that it's quite like chunky and warm, and I'm definitely seeing myself making a few more. I really enjoy like this pointy swirly top. Like a lot of people asked me if it was on purpose, because it has like a little bit of a funny look, but I really like it. Like it's really what I'm into. Yeah, and oh, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it's a free pattern by PurlSoho, and they have like all the sizes from like toddler to adult man or something. And yeah, I think it's really cool that you can do it with like 100 gram skein of like, I guess, worsted weight. This is like, I think Norma is 100 gram, 200 meters, I think. So I guess if you have like 2 50-gram balls of knitting for only heavy merino or something, this would easily doable as well. Or if you have like 2 fingering skeins of yarn that you can hull together and maul, or like your, hand-dyed yarn. So I think this hat gives me a lot of options, especially since I know now how long I need to knit it to get that perfect length. And I think it's also a great project if you want to try out Norma, because this is freaking expensive yarn, at least in from my point of view. I think nowadays it might be a little bit cheaper again, but when I ordered it 3 years ago, it was sold out everywhere in Germany, and I had to order it from Denmark, and it was like, I think €7 more expensive than in comparison to Germany. Like I think the skein would be like 19 or 20 euro in Germany and 26 in Denmark. So, but I think 26 euros for a hat is totally fine. And since this composition is also very soft, like I have quite a sensitive head, but I can wear this without a problem on my forehead, which I think says a lot. Yeah, so great finished object. I love it. Like I'm a little bit sad that like this is definitely too warm to wear over the next few months, except like maybe some very rainy days. But yeah, so that's that. I don't have a price of yarn for the mittens because wow, it's really raining now. Because they were scrap yarn, so no idea, but they didn't use a lot of yarn. The next thing I did as a, like someone asked me to do it, but it was for a friend as a gift, because I haven't knitted her anything, and she asked me if I can do her a triangular scarf, because she really liked my, stripy loop bandana from Other Loops in this like red and brown stripes, and she asked if I could make her one as well. And since I think it's quite an easy, fast and enjoyable project, I was like, yes, I can do it. And so we talked about colors, and she wanted a pink one, and we were talking about the stripes, and excuse me, we thought maybe a red stripe would look really good. But the red I picked up was very bright red, and I think that was like a little bit too playful maybe for her, even though it's very trendy combination at the moment. But I also had some, no, I didn't have it, but my Olga jacket has a burgundy color, and I held that together, and she was like, oh yeah, I really enjoy that. So I got a burgundy, and this is how it's looking. And it's not the stripy loop scarf pattern, it's the Easy Peasy Bandana by Paulastrickt or Susanne Müller, which is a free pattern. I'm not sure if it's only available in German or if is there also an English version. I don't know, but I think you can figure it out even if you read the German version and put it in ChatGPT, because it's really, really easy, like the name suggests. And it's a solid color bandana, and I just put in the stripes. I kind of copied the striping pattern from Hannah or Hannah. I'm not 100% sure. I follow her on Instagram and recently discovered that she has also a YouTube channel, which is mainly about books and lifestyle, but also she also does knitting, and she sells a few of her, I think, knitted things on her website. I think she also watches my YouTube videos, so this is kind of awkward, but yeah, I really like the distance of her stripes. So I did this as well, and yeah, so it's different. It has like vertical stripes, while the stripy loop bandana has stripes that follow the diagonal lines. The only thing I find really annoying is that even though I blocked this, the rolled edges always roll in on itself. So I'm a bit hesitant about that, but I also saw that I think Paulastrickt has several like bandana patterns, but I've seen recently one on her Instagram which is red, on at least in the picture, in the sample, and it has like I think a ribbed edge, and I really, really liked how that is looking. So I think I'm going to purchase that pattern because I totally see myself making more of these. This was so much fun, especially with the striping. And you just do it by basically increasing on that one side, actually with yarn overs, which I've never done before. And yeah, I've done it before, but not on a scarf, and it was very pleasant to do. It was a little bit of a struggle in the beginning to carry the dark yarn, but I think I've done quite a good job. And I think it also looks really neat from the inside, but as you can see, I still need to weave in all the ends. I used, what was it, like Lang Yarns Merino 120 or something, because it's just available in my yarn store. And I have to say, I prefer the fit of this one into comparison to the stripy loop bandana, because that one was a little bit like, this is more lengthy, like it has more pointy ends, which makes it a lot easier. Oh no, that's the wrong way. For example, like if you want to wear it like this, so you are actually able to wrap it twice around you. I have no idea how I look at the moment. So you can like knot it in the front, but you can also just like knot it in the back because it's actually long enough. And I think the other one wasn't really long enough to knot it. And what I like to wear is like always also in the back, and just make an easy one like this. I hope I don't look like a fool right now, but yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I'm not a pink person, but I think it's really, really cute, and it's I really enjoy knitting with like colors that I don't tend to knit with for my friends. And yeah, so that is her gift basically. In regards to small projects, because like as you can see, I finished a lot of small projects. I really got a high these last 2 months of finishing like small things in a really short time, but also immediately casting on a new small object, which ended in me not making a lot of progress in that time on like big garments, but I finished some as well. I also finished 2 baby balaclavas, or 1 kids, 1 baby. And it's again the free pattern by, a lot of free patterns in this episode. I mean, which is good. It's the free pattern by Agnes Brandels. I think it's the same person who did the Timber mittens. And I think but it's also published through Järbo Design, which is a yarn brand, but they also, like Sandnesgarn or Rauma, they also do patterns sometimes. And I've started these, I think, maybe in December or January, February, I don't know. But on this one, which is the baby size, I ran out of yarn and I needed to finish my Norma sweater to have enough yarn, because it's actually so one's like, this is 2 strands held together, and one is a what is it, a fading yarn, which fades from this like cream color down to the blue down here, and it's held with a light blue sock yarn. But I ran out of the light blue sock yarn around here, and I didn't have any light blue sock yarn in a matching color, and I continued with a darker blue, but it just had, I mean, even here you can see there's like a cut, but I think it's not that visible anymore. Beforehand it had like a really straight line of the dark yarn starting, and it just didn't look good. And then I used some leftover scraps of my Moby sweater baby for the brim, and yeah, it's a cute baby head. I don't think my nephew is going to fit this anymore. He is ginormous, like seriously. He's now 6 months and he weighs 10 kilograms. And I was like, when I was talking to my friends, I was like, yeah, he feels like a 1 or 1.5 year old baby. And I looked it up, it actually matches. So he won't fit in this anymore. So, and we have in a few weeks a flea market in our street, and a lot of children and parents live here, so I might see if someone wants to buy it, and otherwise I just put it in my baby drawer for future children to be born and to be gifted. And another thing I did is the kid size of this like navy and camel colored yarn, and a very bright red brim. I love this color combination. I first wanted to do the brim, or like the ribbing, also in the dark navy, but then this was actually the red that I got to hold with the pink. And since I had that skein left over, I thought like it's perfect. Super washed yarn, so I can use it easily in baby things, great thing. And I think it's a lot of like fun, and I think it's also a color combination I will continue using in the future. Yeah, I think this would actually, I mean, this is a proper kid size. Like, I think probably my nephew is somewhere in between. So I'm not sure if I am going to sell this maybe as well, because I don't think he will fit it until not the coming like winter of 2026. So I don't know. I might sell it. I might keep it. I will probably, like, this is already the 4th one or something I've knitted from this pattern, so I totally see myself making even more in the future. I can highly recommend that pattern. Super easy, it's super mindless, just a joy. How do I continue now? Let's continue with all the small things. I also finished a toy. This is a donkey, as you can maybe see. I will show you closer, and it's a crochet animal. I hope it's in focus, and I'm not in focus. So yeah, it has like a mane and a tail and hooves and legs, and yeah, it's part of this book, which in German it's called Edward's Freche Tierparade, but I think the English original title is Edward's Menagerie, and it's by Top, which is, I think, a publisher of a lot of like crochet animal books. And yeah, as you can maybe see in the lot of like posted thingies I put in, there are a lot of animals that I would like to crochet. I've mentioned this in the past. that I would rather prefer to crochet toys than knit them, just because I think it's much more enjoyable than like fiddling with small DPNs. It's quite interesting, this book. I mean, they have like of these like Edwards series, like all the animals you can ever imagine. I could totally see myself getting more of these books, but these are already like, these already have 50 animals, which is insane. It took me a minute to get into crochet. I used to crochet a lot, like since I was a child, and I also used to crochet animals, but it's really been a long time and I haven't read a crochet pattern in 10 years or something. But it's actually fairly easy. What I find interesting is all the animals kind of have the same construction. You also have the option to crochet them in 3 different sizes, which I will show you later because I'm already working on a second animal. And you change just the size by the crochet hook and the yarn weight you're using. This is is it the smallest size? No, this is the normal size, which is done on a 3mm crochet hook and DK weight yarn. And this was just all scraps that I had left over. Some basic gray wool with some basic cream colored wool, and though I used for the mane and also the tail, I used also some brushed alpaca silk, so it made it more fluffy, I guess. And then you stitch on the face, and they're actually made so they can sit like also on their own, but I think this is too sloped of a surface, I guess. Yeah, it won't hold, but it can sit next to my vase, I guess. This donkey is so damn cute. I love it. And I just made it because it was like, I found it the cutest, and they have like 3 different sections of difficulty level, but I think like even the most difficult ones are totally doable. Like I think 10 years ago I did a Triceratops, like this dinosaur, from an Etsy instruction, and that was much more, it was a lot more difficult because it had a lot of different parts, and this is like nearly always the same. Like the legs and the arms and the body are nearly always the same, and then you just do like maybe stripes or different heads and ears and stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoy that, and I'm going to make him clothing as well. So this one is for my nephew because apparently my sister's fiance really likes donkeys, so that's very fitting. And yeah, I'm going to make him, I think, dungarees, which would look really cute, because I think there are a lot of animals that are really hard to put on clothing because they are really white, or they have like really big things on the back going on and stuff like that. But I think he could totally wear some pair of dungarees. So yeah, and you just stuff the hooves, the body, and the head. So these arms are actually empty. I didn't have any stuffing in the beginning and just used a lot of yarn scraps, but holy cow, this uses a lot of like filling up to make them actually like stand up on their own. And so yeah, and it takes a lot longer than I thought. I mean, you can totally do one of these on a weekend, but for the size that they are, I thought it would go way by faster. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying it. My dad and I looked through the book, and he, I think, really liked the cow, so I think I might need to make a toy stuff, like a cow stuffy for my dad. And yeah, I will see what else I would like to crochet in the future from the animal books. And they have like one which is like sea themed, like living in the sea, like ocean themed book as well, which I might consider because I live close to the ocean, and probably my nephew, I mean, they don't live far away from me as well, so I think that would be really cute. So yeah, I have a donkey now. He's sitting on my new secretary at the moment. It's so darn cute. What else did I finish? So since we are on the topic of small animals, if you've been a long-time viewer, you might know that I've knitted in the past little dog sweaters for a very, very small dog. She is a dachshund, sausage dog, I don't know, Dackel in German basically, but she's also, her race is like a Kaninchendackel, so she's the smallest version of a dachshund, which means she's bred to catch rabbits, so she's so small as a rabbit, so she can get into their, what is it, like the things they build in the earth. So yeah, they are basically, the problem is she is small, skinny, lightweight, has not a lot of fur, very close to the ground, and is freezing all the time. Like when the temperature drops under 20 degrees, she is shaking basically, which isn't ideal for a dog living in Germany. So, and the problem is she's so small and lightweight. There are like really no like clothing items you can buy for her to protect her from the cold and rain and stuff. So I've knitted her in the past already 3 jumpers, a color work one with cables, and one textured one. The cabled one she lost in the woods. It was also a dark green one, so it was quite hard to find it again. And it was also a bit loose, so she just slipped out of it when it got caught on something. The blue one is looking ratty. Like my friend showed it to me and was like, can you maybe knit another one? And because this one is falling apart and it really looks bad. There are like big holes in it. It has like a lot of stains. It's bleached from the sun. It doesn't look good. And her color work one is her chic one, like her for Christmas Eve one, kind of, I don't know, like my friend just puts her into it when they're not going on like an outdoorsy forest walk or something. And so I made her a new one, and I also have yarn for another one. This one, it's looking so funny because like if you don't have the dog, it just looks wrong. This one is knit with Lang yarns Donegal tweed, and I guess I think it's a mid-green color, and it has like green and blue lighter specks in it. So I also considered this more of her outdoorsy foresty one, and the other one is more of a fun stripy one that I'm considering. Since she is so small, there are no patterns ever on the earth designed, whatever, that I can follow. And since I measured her for the first one, I'm always adapting it to my gauge and everything. But my friend also had like some requests this time, like not in a demanding way, but like if you're knitting again another sweater, maybe like do this like tighter and this wider, and she needs more room there. And since I was in Berlin and seeing her last weekend, I really like, she is basically a made to measure wardrobe, or made to knit wardrobe. I don't know, but you know, get what I mean. Like that dog has really a fancy wardrobe because all her things are made by me basically. So the thing is, like, I will put my hand into it so you can see it a little bit. So she always gets a turtleneck, so she has more warmth at the neckline. And I started casting on from the neckline and then went into the body basically. But even though I did like a German twisted cast on with a bigger needle, it just was a little bit too tight, and then I had at the end a little bit of yarn left over, so I cut the ribbing of the turtleneck off and just picked up stitches, did a longer turtleneck so it's able to fold over. So I guess beforehand she had a mock neck or something, and did a obviously Italian bind off because that dog is fancy. It gets even more fancy because the thing is, I will maybe put in pictures so you get the problem. Beforehand, the sweaters I knit, I did like increases all around here, to make it fit over her bust basically, and to make enough room for her legs. And then I just decreased and had like a flap at the end. And the thing is, like, especially sausage dogs, they have like a really big muscular bust for the, like, for a small dog, and she's very thin just before, I guess where her waist is, like just before her legs at the back start. And I was like, okay, but like she needs a lot of room here, but she doesn't have like a long neck or something. And then, I mean, when I knitted the first 3 sweaters, I think I wasn't skilled enough to come up with my own German short row pattern. Like, I was able to knit German short rows, but like I would have never considered putting them into a dog sweater. But I thought, like, the way we put German short rows in the bag to make space for a higher neckline and a lower back basically, so like basically like this, you could also do it to make space for a bigger bust for a dog. And that's what I did. I kind of did like, able to see that, I did kind of like increases along, like rockline increases along this line to also make it wider, but I also did like German short rows to give it more fabric here in the front and keep it the same fabric at the top. I also did what is it, I'm forgetting what it is, not secured the leg with a crochet, like singular crochet line. So because since she's running a lot, it really gets stretched out and rips easily, so this is a little bit safer, or like holds longer. I then knitted her body and did decreases for her waist basically. And then my friend, she has like one raincoat, I guess, for the dog, and that has like a flap at the back, but which like covers her butt and her tail a bit, so it's more protected. And my friend asked if it would be also possible to do that, and I was like, well, I don't know how to do that. But then I thought, like, so I knitted straight until here basically, and then I cast off 7 stitches on each side and continued just knitting the middle part. And then I cast this after, I don't know, 3 centimeters off as well, and then sewed it together with the cast off stitches on the left and right side, and that just created this little hood, I guess, for her butt. And to be extra fancy, I thought it would be actually great to be able to cinch it in a little bit, because I don't know if this is maybe a little bit too long now, and the edging wasn't looking that nice, so I can't believe I did that. I did I-cord edging all around the cutout of her butt basically, and this way I can thread an elastic through the I-cord, and when she's here to try it on, I can cinch it in and make it like also fit very tightly around her back and butt. So yeah, I guess this is a very fancy little dog sweater, but it's also took me like 2 days, to be honest. Like, my friend was kind of shocked because I cast it on in Berlin to make the German short rows fit her bust basically really well, and I think I arrived home and I was basically at the tail part, not at the butt part, and then I just had to do like this hooded thing at the end and the I-cord. So it's a really fast knit. It's also knit, like the ribbing is done on 3.5 millimeter needles and the body on 4.5. It's not blocked yet, but I don't think it will grow that much. Yeah, okay, that was a lot of talking all about a little dog sweater. I'll just show you shortly. I also got her some fun yarn to be able to see her more easily, and maybe some circumstances where you don't want her to blend with the forest. And since pink is really in right now, I am doing like a pink and brown but just a warm brown tone and pink stripe, and it's the same yarn from my mittens. So yeah, this one is going to be stripy, and then we will see how many more in the future I will make. Wow, I'm out of breath because of talking all about that little sweater. The next thing is the thing I'm wearing. It's been, the yarn has been bought, cast on, and finished and blocked in the time I haven't podcasted, basically. I also finished it only 2 days ago, so it's quite recent. This is the Novice slipover by PetiteKnit, and I've knitted in a very, very special and cool yarn. I will just get up for a second. Just wearing obviously pajama bottoms because it's Sunday. So yeah, I'm always like, this is my belly button, so it's definitely like down to my hip, but not too long, not too short. It's also quite wide. I have, I think, maybe about like 15 to 20 centimeters of positive ease, and it also has quite deep armholes, 1x1 ribbing, double folded neckline, which I put just in elastic because it was quite wide beforehand. And yeah, so let's talk about the yarn. And I think this is quite funny because I showed this yarn in my spring knitting plans, and I wasn't intending to buy that yarn. I talked about it like that I was really craving this like very venom green, I don't know, like matcha green. It really depends. Like sometimes it looks more like bread summer green, like more into the limey direction, and sometimes it looks very like matcha powder green. I have some yarn left so I can show it to you. It looks more in the light. And I've seen that yarn on a website which is called Schafwollspinnerei Höfer, which is also a local yarn, which I will link down in the description box. And like I mentioned, I went to a yarn festival, and I will talk about it later on in the second half of this video. But there was a seller, like a yarn stand booth basically, and she was selling this yarn. And I was immediately drawn to that color, but she was selling it like under a different name. So I didn't connect it to that website, and I bought that yarn. And afterwards, because I went there with a friend and I told her about this website I really like that yarn from, and she was like, yeah, but actually that name is written on that yarn because it had a little tag. Do I still have that tag? Yeah, I think I kept it. So it had like this little tag where the name of that seller, like that booth owner, was written onto it. And she sells the yarn on Etsy as well, not only on yarn festivals. But there was also a second tag where once it was written what it is, but also on the other side it had this logo on it. And my friend was like, because she went on through the website of this brand Schafwollspinnerei Höfer, and it also says on there Wendelstein Schafwolle. So I think this seller on that yarn festival actually sells the yarn from is just a reseller of the yarn of Schafwollspinnerei Höfer, and I didn't just realize that in the moment. And exactly the color I showed you in my spring knitting videos that I was like thinking about buying, I bought at that yarn festival, not knowing it was the exact same yarn. So but I guess that's good. So this is local yarn, local produced yarn in the south of Germany, in Bavaria. It's a German merino yarn, and this is a really, really cool yarn brand. And I was really happy when I heard from some of you after I talked about Finkroof yarn in my last podcast episode, or actually also my spring knitting video, but that some of you ordered it and really liked it. I mean, I think it's always like a little bit difficult and a hit or miss to recommend yarns, especially more like local rustic yarns, if people enjoy it. But I think with the price point of the Tinkoff yarn, and as well with this one, there's not that big of a risk, I guess. So yeah, like I said, it's a German yarn production in the south of Germany, and similar to Finkhof, they also do a lot of like wool-based products. Like they also have in-house like the mill, the spinning, but also weaving. They do like bedding, but also like woolen blankets and clothing and stuff. So it's like a wide variety of products, and just knitting yarn is a part of it. And yeah, they source the yarn from local German merino sheep, but also like Bergschaf is a mountain sheep. But I think the mountain sheep yarn or the mountain sheep fleeces are used for different products and not the yarn, because they only sell merino yarn. The same as with the Finkhof merino yarn, this is a mixed breed of merino, or a specific breed to like the middle, or yeah, Central Europe, I guess. It's not the merino yarn when we buy like superwash merino yarn from big box stores, or like even like Spanish merino. So it's a lot more rustic. So it's more like merino Landschaft or other mixed breeds. So they are more resistant to the climate we live in, even though obviously in the south of Germany it's much more warmer in comparison to where I live. I think there's a lot of great things to say about this yarn brand, I guess. Like I said, they have like an all, like the whole production from the fleeces to the finished blankets or the yarn. They have it all in-house. They are also on the website if you like, I guess, documentations like mini reportage. So you can see and look into their work and production process, which I find really interesting. They have a few different yarns. They are all the same merino base, but they have like natural dyed yarns and chemical dyed yarns and undyed yarns. They also have 2-ply, which is this, 3-ply, and also a 2-ply sock yarn, which is also just wool, so no nylon or anything. And then they have different colorways. It's they have, like I said, the undyed version, then the natural dyed versions, where they write also with what plant fibers, for example, they dyed the yarn. And then they have like 2 other collections, which one is called, I forgot the name, but one is like only pastel colorways. So if you're into that, that's also really cool, like really pretty, like light blues, light yellow, light pink, stuff like that. And then they have also a tweed collection, which is also like really nice. Reminds me a lot of the, what is it, Pergint tweed colors you can get. And what else is there to know? I am quite surprised that it took me that long to discover this yarn, because I think with, for example, with Finkhof, I mentioned this in the past, a lot of more local yarn dyers or local yarn producers who also dye the yarn, the colors are a little bit hit or miss. Like, for example, Finkhof, they have beautiful undyed colors, and then they have like very primary colors and a very small selection. So they have like 1 red, 1 green, 1 blue. And if it's not the exact shade of red or something you're looking for, it just doesn't work in that case. And I think the other direction is a lot more like muted colors. I've seen with local yarn producers, which are obviously also beautiful, but if you're looking for a very bright, specific shade of green, it's quite hard sometimes to find something like that from a local production. And I was really surprised from Schafwollspinnerei Höfer, because their color selection is amazing. Obviously, they are not Sandnesgarn or Knitting for Olive. They are not a big yarn brand, but they have like, I don't know, 5-6 different green tones and 3 or 4 different red tones and stuff like that. So I'm really amazed by the color selection. And I also think it's really pretty true to color, because I think that can also be sometimes a little bit difficult. I will put in the picture from the website and hope my camera picks up the green of my sweater or my vest at the moment in the right way. I think they also have very trendy colors, because that's also obviously a thing, like small local yarn brands, they can't just follow every different trend and do like a tomato red and a butter yellow and a matcha green and stuff like that. But I think they have colors that were in trend or probably will be in trend in the next few years, which are very specific. This color is called Alge, and it's the 2-ply yarn, and I've knitted this on 5mm needles, so I guess the 3-ply is really, really thick. I think you could also knit this on 4mm needle, like 4 to 5, would work great. What else? Like, I think, for example, they had like really, like, if you are on the butter yellow trend, I would really check them out. Since I'm really into red, they have amazing red tones, but also blues. The undyed colors are beautiful. And I'm also really eyeing the, what is it? The tweed yarn. I think they are really nice as well. And now it comes, because I think a lot of people have that thought that local yarn needs to be expensive, and I have no idea how they can afford to produce that yarn with that price. But 100-gram skein is €6. Let that sink in. €6. Like, if you compare that to, for example, Sandnesgarn PerGint, that's like €5-6 per 50 grams, and this is 100-gram skein. I mean, this is just 60 grams left, but yeah. So my vest, my slipover, cost, because I got 4 skeins because they were so cheap, but all in all I just needed 2.5 skeins, so I paid about, like, I don't know, €15 for my vest. And like, even if you did a whole sweater, it probably wouldn't even cost like €40 or something. So I think this is just crazy to me. I would really like to know how they are able to produce yarn at that low cost, because, for example, also their natural dyed yarns, they are Oeko-Tex certified, so it's not that they have like really bad production values. I think the documentaries are also focusing a lot on the socioeconomic part of the production, the jobs that are given in the region, because it's very rural countryside, close to the Alps, or no, it's even in the Alps. How rustic is this yarn, you might wonder? Like, maybe that's the reason why it's cheap. This is a lot softer in comparison to the Finkhof yarn. I would compare this to PerGint, I guess. I think it's very similar. I had this with me to my knit night, and I guess most of the knitters in my knit night are not the biggest fan of rustic yarns, and I was like asking them what it feels to, and Julia said it's comparable to Mota from is it Wool Dreamers Mota. Yeah, I think it's softer than PerGint. I think it's also yarn which will soften a lot over with wearing. Obviously, I can't say anything to how it's holding up, if this is going to peel like crazy. I thought about first knitting the Friday slipover, which is a broken rib stitch pattern by PetiteKnit. But I think this yarn, at least the 2-ply, I don't know how it is with the 3-ply, doesn't lend to a textured garment that well. I will insert my swatch, a picture of it. I think it looked still nice. I have that swatch on my swatch board, but I think it really creates that even green, in this case green, fabric, which is really, really nice, and I think it will look more even over time. And I think it could, I think the texture could disappear over time, which would be obviously sad if you put the time and effort into it. So I definitely see myself ordering a lot more yarn from them if this holds up well and won't peel like crazy or anything, just because of like, I mean, the what is it, like the quality and the pricing, it's insane. Like it's even cheaper than Finkhof. So I don't know how they do it. Really, it would be really interesting for me. And I think it's kind of sad that they don't get that much attention as other yarn brands. The only thing I can explain to myself is that their marketing on their website isn't targeted to maybe myself and people who maybe watch my YouTube videos and stuff like that. It's very, I feel it's very outdated. It's like a lot of like women in their 50s plus with traditional Bavarian clothing, like, you know, from Oktoberfest, which isn't something that is speaking to me. They all are wearing also not like really cool bright colors or something. And obviously there is a target group because that business is running, and there are probably people who are buying that yarn since the 50s, since it was founded. But I think since they have like these really cool trendy colors, I'm like, you should do a collaboration with a really young and active on social media designer and put it out there. Like, I think they're missing a big chance in their marketing. Maybe I should apply for the marketing job, even though I don't know shit about marketing. But yeah, I just think it's they should get a lot more attention than they, in my view, are getting, since I have never heard of them beforehand. Yes, that's that. Anything else to the Novice slipover? I don't think so. I got this beautiful piratey blouse yesterday in mind to wear with this slipover. I love it. Like I said, I've knitted on 5mm needles, knit the ribbing on 3.5. Yeah, I've knitted a little bit longer than my other slipover from what is it, my favorite things knitwear, because I was debating a little bit. I think the other one is it vest number 2, vest number 1, I don't know. They basically look the same, they have the same gauge and everything, but I really looked into both patterns, and vest number 1 is a bit wider in the shoulders, which I like on my other vest, but I don't want it with everyone, and I really wanted one more which has a lot more positive ease but isn't like too wide in the shoulder section, because I don't have wide shoulders. I have a lot of bust circumference and I want a lot of positive ease, but I'm quite like narrow build at the top at least. So yeah, that's why I chose the Novice slipover over the other pattern that I've knitted before. And I also prefer, I mean, they are like, this is a really beginner friendly pattern. They are like no German short rows. It just, I guess, a square with 2 holes and a hole for the head. But what did I want to say? The vest number 1, if it's the right number, I'm not 100% sure. You form a slant at the back, and you do that not with German short rows, but like with, I think, casting on new stitches and then picking up from these cast on new stitches, and I hated that. Like, it, in the end, it always looks good, but the process is so tedious and I really don't enjoy it. So I think that was also the reason why I was looking for a different pattern. And I think with that, I probably filled nearly already an hour with just finished objects. And let's get to my last finished object, which will probably be in the cover, I guess. I haven't taken any B-roll of this, and since I'm not wearing it, I need to do that. It's my finished Norma sweater 2.0, because my other one is lying still there. So it's finished. It's beautiful. I'm happier than with the first one. I love my color choices, but I think there might need to be some things that I need to fix in the future. So I think this pattern needs no introduction since I talked about it in my last free podcast episode. It's the Norma sweater by My Favorite Things Knitwear. You can find all the yarns that I use because I used, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different yarns in this sweater, so I won't just recount them all. What is there to be said? I did a few modifications. This is off gauge, like my gauge is bigger, so which means it's wider than the size that I was knitting, which was great. So I was able to split for sleeves earlier while not losing the width. But I think I also cast on more stitches under the sleeve. You can find all my modifications in Ravelry. It still has a very deep armhole. I probably could have split for sleeves here, if we're being honest. This fabric is much more drapier, like it folds way easier in comparison to my old or my former Norma sweater, which was very stiff and tightly knit. So it sits a lot more better with this raglan construction. Still, I'm not 100% sold on that raglan thingy. I still think that circular yokes and dropped shoulder and contiguous sleeve shoulders all look better than on me in comparison to raglan constructions, but I still really like the sweater, but most of because of the color work and the colors I've chosen, rather because of the fit or something. I ran out of yarn twice because the contrast colors I didn't buy specifically for that sweater. I just bought it on sale and then decided it would be beautiful with that main color. So I think I ran first out of the rust color, but I actually found a different yarn brand which had the exact same color shade and just used that instead, and it just matches, and I think no one will ever be able to tell where I changed the rust color. The blue is a different story because I ran out of it. I think, I don't know where I ran out of it, but I think I had enough for a sleeve and a few stripes on the second sleeve, but I still needed to add an extra stripe on the body and a few stripes on the second sleeve. So I needed to order a ball of that yarn again, which was really annoying and really threw me back in finishing this. My sleeves are a bit short. You will see that on the b-roll, on the pictures I will put in. But the second sleeve isn't properly blocked yet, and I think they are really, really wide. So I think I can maybe get a little bit more length out of reblocking the sweater in the sleeve. I think lengthwise it looks perfect. Widthwise I feel very comfortable. But yeah, I think I either need to get a little bit more length for blocking, or I need to put in an extra stripe, which I would hate to open up that ribbing, or I could just like do sweater surgery, but I'm really not up for that. The only other thing I'm not really happy about, despite the sleeve length, is the collar situation. With my first one I cast on here and picked up for the neckline upwards with this one, but that resulted in a odd, it wasn't really sitting really well around my shoulders because it was like really pulling up and wasn't really laying nicely around this curve. And this time I did like tubular Italian cast on in the beginning and knit the ribbing first and then continued with the body. I already shortened it about a centimeter because I think it says in the pattern to knit 11 centimeters of the ribbing. This is way too long for my very short and thick neck. It's funny, when I visited my friend we measured necks and I apparently have a really wide neck, which makes sense. I had like surgery and stuff, so I don't consider myself having like a swan like neck or something. But since I only did like 10 centimeters, I thought I would be all right, and that since this ribbing goes directly into the body, it would stretch out a little bit, and just the weight of the sweater will pull the neckline down, but it's not. Apparently this is still a very I don't know, structured sweater or something. I need to see if over time it will pull a bit downwards. At the moment I just fold it inwards, and that's fine for me. This sweater is too warm to wear at the moment anyways. We had a drop in temperature, so I was able to wear it like 2 days ago, but generally it's really, really warm sweater because it's like a DK worsted weight merino yarn held with a silk mohair as a turtleneck, so I guess that's not the season for it, but it's fine for me. So yeah, I think either way over time I will sew it down, or I will go back and reknit that mock neck and shorten it, because I actually like the look of a mock neck, but yeah, this one is too high. It looks a little bit stupid on me because I just don't have that much of a neck, I guess. So yeah, I really like the colors. I really like the striping. I'm really happy with the fabric and everything, but I don't see any raglands in my future. I think in between, like at the halftime of the project, I thought I nailed all of my raglan problems, but after finishing it I was like, yeah, it's not doing anything for me. And that doesn't mean you can't knit that for yourself, but I think I just prefer how I look in different constructions, and there are so many beautiful sweaters out there in the world, so I don't need to knit any more raglan's. This is so cozy, I just want to keep it in my arms. It's just the best. And the colors are so beautiful. I really could imagine knitting something else in that stripy pattern because I really, really like it. I also have a lot of that main color left over. I think 1.5 skeins. Could that be? Yeah. And I also have more than one ball of the soft silk mohair by knitting for olive left over. So a lot of possibilities. Matching hat, maybe. I don't know. Oh, this would also be cute in a slipover. Maybe that's an idea. So yeah, that's all my finished objects, and you're probably, wow, we made it. Yes, so like I said in the beginning, I will talk now in the next part all about my current whips, all the things I acquired at the Yarn Festival, talk a little bit more about the experience of the Yarn Festival, and all the things I am planning on casting on. And I see you in the next part, if you still going strong, if you're still here with me, and maybe in the next video. If not, I see you probably in 1 to 2 months again, when I feel like podcasting again and acquired a million finished objects. Until then, I see you next time.